Good morning, friends, and good morning to those of you who did not join us for our morning meeting on Zoom. We're going to go ahead and begin with religion today, as we do every day. So we are going to go back into our packets that we started yesterday. So your packet looks like this. It's the story of Easter. Okay, and yesterday we filled out the first page front and back. So I'm going to go ahead and read what we have so far. So it says, Jesus entered Jerusalem with his disciples. People welcomed Jesus by shouting and waving palm branches. So remember, that page represents Palm Sunday. So we cut and pasted the palm branch. Okay. Page 2. Jesus went to the temple in Jerusalem. He was unhappy that people were selling things. He drove out the merchants. Jesus started teaching at the temple. The chief priests were angry. So remember, Jesus showed up to Jerusalem, or he was in Jerusalem, and he went to the temple, which a temple is very similar, if not the same thing as a church. It's where you worship. Okay. He went and he saw people selling things, and that made Jesus very angry because the temple is not for it's not a store, it's not a place for selling, but it's a place for worshiping and for praying. And so he told all the people who were selling things to leave, and that the chief priests, which were the priests that had power, they got angry at this. And then they got even more angry when they saw that Jesus was then teaching at the temple. Because remember, Jesus is teaching something different from what the priests believe in. So Jesus is teaching about God and about God's love. And the priests did not believe, and they did not think that Jesus was being honest. Okay, and then page 3, the chief priests wanted Jesus to go away. Judas, one of the disciples of Jesus, told the priest he would help them. So remember, Jesus has 12 disciples, so he has 12 men who follow him. So those are his faithful friends. One of them, he really, really, really liked money. So he thought to himself, well, how can I make some money? And he noticed that the chief priests were angry that Jesus was teaching about God's love. And so he went to the chief priests and told them, I can get you to Jesus, but I would need you to give me money for it. Okay. So on page 3, that's when we cut and pasted some money. So that's the money that the chief priests gave to Judas for telling them where Jesus was at. Okay, so we're going to do page 4, 5, and 6. 4, 5, and 6 today. Okay, so I'm going to read to you, and then we will cut and paste. So it says, Jesus knew about the plan. He gathered his disciples for the Last Supper. Jesus went to a garden to pray. Judas led the priests to Jesus. The guards arrested Jesus. So this is 4 and 5. Okay. And then page 6. It says, Jesus went before Pontius Pilate, a Roman judge. Pilate sentenced Jesus to be crucified. So this is when we begin the stations of the cross, sorry. So remember, station 1 is when Jesus was condemned to death. So he went to go talk to Pontius Pilate, and the people of Jerusalem told Pontius Pilate to crucify him. And remember, it was between him or Barabbas. And they chose to crucify Jesus, who did nothing wrong, and let Barabbas go free. And Barabbas was a thief. He was doing bad things that he should have been punished for, but they didn't like what Jesus was teaching. And so they told Pontius Pilate to crucify him. And then we go into the station. So station 2, Jesus takes up his cross. So remember, that cross was super heavy, right? It was super heavy, and he takes it anyways. He knows that, hey, I'm going to do this because this is God. This is what my Father wants me to do. This is what God is asking me to do. And then station 3, Jesus falls for the first time. This is where we see the soldiers mistreating Jesus and hitting him and whipping him and kicking him and spitting on him, and they're not being very kind to Jesus. Station 4, Jesus meets his mother. So Mother Mary sees him while he's walking with his cross, and remember, she can't do anything about it. Okay, so if she tried to help him, then she could get herself in trouble. And Jesus didn't want her to help. He knew that that was the path that he needed to take. Station 5, Simon of Cyrene helps Jesus. So remember, Jesus had already fallen. He's tired. He's sweaty. His muscles hurt. And so he's getting slower because of all of this. So the soldiers see Simon in the crowd and they point to him and they go, "Hey, you, help him carry the cross." And so Jesus acknowledges Simon and he goes, "Thank you so much, friend, for helping me. Just know that you have a spot in heaven for being a good person and for being kind and being helpful." And then station 6, which is a lot of your favorite stations, a lot of yours, one of your favorite stations, sorry. Veronica wipes Jesus' face. So remember, Jesus is super sweaty. He's bleeding because they put the crown of thorns around his head. He's probably crying because his body's in pain. So Veronica, she goes and takes her veil. So remember, the veil is this, like the scarf the women would wear over their heads. And she wipes Jesus' face, okay? Because blood and sweat and tears and all of that, it makes your eyes burn and it's hard to see. So she wipes his face, and as a thanks, Jesus puts his face on her veil so that she has a piece of him. Okay, so we are going to go ahead. We will review 7 through 14 tomorrow, but we're going to go ahead and cut and paste our pictures for pages 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so we go back to page 4, which is we see Jesus' disciples here. Okay, and we will talk about the Last Supper tomorrow. That's personally one of my favorite things to teach, and one of my favorite things, events that happens at our school. But sadly, we're not in school, so next year we will all be able to do it, to have our Last Supper together. So it asks, find a picture of Jesus breaking bread. So we're going to look at, remember this page, and we're going to find right here, Jesus is breaking bread. So remember, when we're in Mass, and this is, again, something we'll talk about tomorrow, but when we're in Mass, the father or the priest, he always breaks bread in front of us. So keep that in mind, because we're going to learn about that. Why the priests, or why the fathers that we see in Mass, why they do that. Okay, so I have my Jesus who is breaking bread here. And I'm going to cut and I'm going to paste now. Okay. So take my glue, put a little bit on my page, and then I'm going to go ahead and paste Jesus there, breaking bread. Okay, so then your page 4 should look like this. Okay, so then page 5, so Jesus went to a garden to pray, right? So they had their Last Supper, and he went to the garden to pray because he knew that his life was coming to an end. Okay, so we are going to find a guard to arrest Jesus. So we're looking here. So we're looking for somebody who looks like a guard or somebody who looks like a soldier. Okay, so it's this one. So you're going to cut this little guy out. And remember, if any pieces fall out or fall off of this page, be sure to save them, because every piece has a home. Okay, every piece has a home. Okay, so I cut my guard, and I'm going to go ahead and glue him under the picture of Jesus praying in the garden. Okay, so I'm going to put my guard there. So he is pasted to page 5, right here, page 5, and we're going to move on to page 6. So it says, Jesus went before Pontius Pilate, a Roman judge. Pilate sentenced Jesus to be crucified. So it says, find a cross. So remember, crucified means that you are placed on a cross. So we are going to cut this cross out. And we are going to paste it in the box on page 6 to complete our page. And then we will finish our book tomorrow on Holy Thursday. Alrighty. So I cut out my cross. I'm going to go ahead and glue it. Okay. This is a symbol or a picture of the cross that Jesus was crucified on. Okay. So like I said, tomorrow we will go more into depth about the Last Supper and the way that Jesus washed the feet of his disciples, and we will finish our book. Tomorrow I have a cute little video for us to watch. It's your favorite version of the videos that we watch. But yes, so make sure you cut and paste those 3 pictures. If you have any extras that fall off, like the angel or any other ones, just keep them because every piece has a place. Okay, and be on the lookout for your language arts video next.